Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Monson Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook and also live on YouTube, where we take a look at the news, at what's going on in Puerto Vallarta, what's going on in our state, in our country. We combine all this information with what you bring to the table, your questions, ideas, and suggestions about how to best enjoy Puerto Vallarta as a community of English speaking locals. And then we drink it up with coffee. It's time to get back to iced coffee here in Puerto Vallarta. I made the switch over the weekend and I am loving it. Love my iced coffee during the warmer months. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. I had a wonderful weekend and I have some show and tell that I'm going to share with you. So excited. And I have interesting news to share with you. Oh my goodness. Kathy says, I've never seen you in white before, looking good. Well, yeah, I do wear white from time to time. Not usually here in front of you, but it's warm. I was out yesterday and I knew that I was going to be doing some walking with a great audiobook in tow. And I figured if I'm going to be out walking in the sun, I'm going to be walking with white. So I took out my white t-shirts from the wardrobe and here we are. But that's enough about me. I hope everybody's doing great. Let me switch over to the news just to see what's going on out there. And we start with something really interesting. Now, those of you who have lived here for a while know that Mexico celebrates El Buen Fin in the fall. Now, El Buen Fin is Mexico's equivalent to the United States post-Thanksgiving Black Friday, where you can find a wide variety of good deals when you shop with participating vendors. This is usually done online, but it also happens when you go into the physical stores. But now Mexico's Ministry of Tourism has announced a similar event focusing only on tourism, and Puerto Vallarta will participate. Now, the first edition will take place on the weekend of May 30th. And hotels and service providers have until the 29th to register. But for us consumers, this means that this new vacation version of El Buen Fin means that during that weekend, we should be able to find great travel deals, not only in Puerto Vallarta, but through the rest of Mexico. So I think it'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Of course, as usual, whenever El Buen Fin comes around in the fall, we always recommend taking a good look at the fine print of everything or anything that is offered. But it's a first-time event, and I think it'll be very interesting to watch. Now, President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, had a telephone call with Donald Trump a couple of days ago. He suggested sending American troops to Mexico to help combat the cartels, and President Sheinbaum politely declined. Then, of course, Trump went and told the media that she is a nice lady who is also terrified of the powerful cartels in Mexico. And she's so terrified that she cannot see clearly. I mean, how could she refuse the help of the United States in this matter? Now, when questioned about this, President Sheinbaum's reaction was as dignified as we've come to expect from our president, whose approval rate, by the way, is almost twice as high as his. What did she say when questioned on the matter during her morning press conference? I quote, I wouldn't want communication between President Trump and yours truly, between the United States and Mexico, to be through the media and statements to the media. It's a good, fluid communication where we have many agreements. I would not want this to become a debate through the media with the United States government. We have our communication. There are many agreements, and that good communication continues. And when there are disagreements, they are also conducted through official media and personal communication. So it's best to leave it at that so there isn't an issue of debate through the media. And I say, tómala. And of course, today is Cinco de Mayo, and it's one of those things in which every year we offer a gentle nudge to those of you watching that while we appreciate that it's become very popular elsewhere, here it's a little bit of a sleeper day. But just in case you want a more thorough reminder, let me find a little feature that I think you might enjoy. Did you know that the Mexican celebration of Cinco de Mayo is no big deal for us Mexican nationals? Cinco de Mayo, or 5th of May, is often celebrated with vibrant festivities and cultural events in the United States, but its significance in Mexico differs from its portrayal abroad. While Cinco de Mayo commemorates the Mexican victory over the French at the Battle of Puebla in 1862, it is not as widely celebrated in Mexico as it is in the United States. In Mexico, Cinco de Mayo is primarily observed in the state of Puebla, where the battle took place, and it is marked with local parades, reenactments, and historical exhibitions. However, it is not a national holiday in Mexico, and outside of Puebla, it is typically just a regular day of work and school. The heightened significance of Cinco de Mayo in the United States can be attributed to various factors, including the influence of Mexican American communities seeking to celebrate their heritage, marketing campaigns by beer companies, and the general appeal of Mexican culture. As a result, Cinco de Mayo has evolved into a popular celebration of Mexican food, music, and traditions across the United States, often featuring festivals, parties, and gatherings. It is important to recognize that while Cinco de Mayo may be a major cultural event in the United States, its significance in Mexico is more subdued, with many Mexicans viewing it as a regional rather than a national observance. Understanding this distinction helps to appreciate the diversity and complexity of cultural celebrations across different countries and communities. If you enjoyed this feature, make sure to tune in to Coffee. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Even Banderas News published their own explainer article in English in case you want to read more about this. And I'm going to leave that in the show notes for you to check out. And now let's turn our attention over to the weather forecast just to see what we can expect out there. Oh my. Don't worry, gory damn pixie. I won't use the weather to kill you. A sentient supercomputer's gotta have a code. Okay, whatever. It is 27 degrees right now, and humidity is at 67%. And our weather forecast for today says that we're going to have humid with mostly clear skies throughout the day, with a high of 28 and a low of 19. Then tomorrow we can expect mostly cloudy skies in the morning with mostly clear skies in the afternoon, a high of 29 and a low of 20. And Wednesday, mostly clear skies in the morning with mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon, a high of 30 and a low of 19. And that's what we have for the first half of the broadcast. I do have one more Cinco de Mayo related feature that I want to share. I follow a website called Cord Cutter News because they have interesting articles about on demand television platforms such as Netflix and HBO and so forth and so on. And for Cinco de Mayo, they suggest a handful of great Mexican films you can find online, along with a brief description of them and the services that you can rely on to watch them. So if you insist on celebrating today, suit yourself, but do keep in mind that these are great films um, that you can watch any day of the year. I noticed a comment earlier. Somebody wrote, "To finally a holiday to drink," and I'm going to say, well, don't wait for a holiday to start your drinking, and that's just my little opinion. Now, we had a celebration over the weekend that I failed to acknowledge on Saturday in Mexico. Saturday was Day of the Holy Cross. It was also Day of the Construction Worker. Um, and this is a tradition that is rooted in the history of Saint Helena, who, after finding the cross, employed several construction workers to build the Santa Cruz de Jerusalén church, and they started working on May 3rd. So I do recall vaguely that somebody had mentioned that Construction Worker Day was on May 1st, and then somebody corrected and said it was today. I mean, it was on May 3rd, and there you have it. Construction Worker Day, or the Day of the Holy Cross, was this past Saturday. And I also want to let you know that the cat is out of the bag for Amy Armstrong and Sargento Dan. We had talked about this special one-time performance called Happy, and now they have published an event on Facebook to reflect it, and I'm so excited for them. This is it's probably going to be a combo of celebrating gay pride with just celebrating happiness one way or another. And I'm definitely going to attend. It should be a lot of fun. This is going to be on the 20th at Nacho Daddy. So it's a one time only. Tickets, I'm sure, are going to fly off the shelves. So do keep this in mind if you want to attend. Get your tickets early. And of course, I'm busy this week putting the final touches to my journey through program music, which is going to be this Thursday, Tales Without Words. What is program music? Well, it's easier to define by music, by the opposite, which is absolute music. Absolute music is composed for the sake of composing music without trying to evoke any particular feeling or situation and circumstance. But program music is the opposite. When did program music first appear? When did composers first start challenging themselves with evoking specific things? That's part of what we're going to uncover this Thursday, and we will cover from early music to jazz. We're going to feature one great composition by the wonderful Pat Metheny, who's going to be in Guadalajara later on this year, and I'm already saving my pesos to be able to attend. And before we get into the chat section of this broadcast, I wanted to quickly show you what kept me busy over the weekend. As you know, I have been giving our website a well-deserved makeover and making it more appealing. And I want to show you where we're at. And here we are. Now our homepage goes into this page, which introduces little mini me. I help you connect with Puerto Vallarta through music, culture, community, and daily storytelling. And then as you scroll down, it shows the ways to plug into this adventure of mine. And there is a page that details coffee and headlines. There is a page that details the spotlight and how you can quickly register to get an interview. There's a page that details my music appreciations presentations. And there's a detail, well, this page is not ready yet. There's a page that details how you can help maintain these projects going through your kind contributions. And then there's a little quote that I grabbed from a recent subscriber. Thank you very much, Ron. And right on the homepage, you can find the latest show notes. So you can find it all right on the main page. But for example, if you go up to, whoops, come on, Paco. go to the top of the page. There you go. If you go to the blog page, here is where you will find all the show notes, and there's a big search function at the top. So if you're looking for a particular show, you can find it there. And as I mentioned, each one of my projects has its own dedicated page telling you what it is about. And that's the one for coffee and headlines. The one for the spotlight has spotlight colors, of course, and it tells about who should consider this and getting into signing up for an interview. I have one of our latest interviews here. I will find a way to rotate them. There's some frequently asked questions about the actual interviews. And then, of course, there is the Paco Ojeda on Music page, which talks a little bit about what we do, how we hold the music appreciation presentations, a little sampler of some of the things that we've done before, and at the bottom, a listing of the upcoming presentations. Yay! 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 I have been meaning to do this for the longest time. And I finally conquered my fear. Yes, I used to do this for a living. I used to build websites for other people. And then time passed and I grew older and clumsier. So I'm grateful to have been able to do this for myself and, of course, for you. And there's still things that are missing. And of course, if you find buttons that are not working, I would appreciate your feedback. And I will continue plowing through this very worthwhile mission through the rest of this week. But we're almost there. I am so excited. And with that, let's take a quick look at where you're at. Boom, 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 boom. Good mornings and good afternoons. Thank you so very much. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yes, I did see this coming by. Happy birthday, Paula. Have a wonderful birthday. Party noisemaker. Okay, there you go. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I love this. Audiobooks work better in ear and not toe. Our first pun of the week. I am a huge audiobook enthusiast, as you guys know, and I am just. I really wish we could talk. We could find a place to discuss books or something. I know there are book clubs here in town, but I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud things or ways to connect with you guys. The Kentucky Derby was last Saturday. Do you have horse racing in Mexico? Yes, we do. Not only do we have horse racing in Mexico, we have polo in Mexico as well. Let's see what else. Quick throat. Hold on just a second. Mute. Hold on. Okay. That's much better. Oh gosh, your comments about Trump. Sure, why not? This is the same guy that was particularly unhinged this weekend, even by his own standards. It is remarkable how she continues to keep her composure around him. Yes, it is. Oh my God, vagabundas! My instant craving for Asian food has arrived. How are you guys doing? Oh my goodness! I see you guys checking in, and I immediately my stomach starts to rumble. I love vagabundas. Let's see. Enjoyed a thoroughly informative talk about historical architecture during a Jane's Walks. The walks covering a variety of topics occur the first week of May around the world. Highly recommended. Uh, is this something that you enjoy online, Barbara? If so, feel free to send me a little note on where to find them because this sounds really interesting. Let's see. Michael contributes to my answer. Yes, Mexico City has a hippodrome, El Hipódromo de las Américas. I remember going there at least once. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. 4 more days. Yay. I love it. There's a question from Question Queen. Queen of Question Laura says, has anyone ever done a quick jaunt to Guadalajara via plane? Stay a couple of days, visit Tequila Town, or do you find bus more reasonable and convenient? I have an answer for you. Here's the thing with the plane versus the bus. And this is my point of view. Yes, the prices can be compared. Prices are comparable. It's not that much expensive to fly, but flights happen only on certain days and at certain times, and that may or may not work with your schedule. And when you fly into Guadalajara, you still have to factor that it'll take you at least 1 hour to get from the airport to wherever you're going. Of course, if you're staying within the historic center. So you get to the airport at least 1 hour ahead in Puerto Vallarta because it makes sense. Then you take about an hour to fly there. Then you take an hour to get to your destination. So that's 3 hours. Now, on the other hand, the bus has more flexible departure and arrival times. Yes, depending on the day and the time of day that you travel, it could take longer or less time than what it's expected. It's nowadays the trip takes about 4 hours. And if you are a person of age like myself, you can sometimes get a discount. So it really boils down to when you go, when you come back. I think either choice is a really good one. The one thing to keep in mind, Laura, is that the tolls in the new highway, those are expensive. And if you're driving solo or you're driving without your passenger friends pitching in with the tolls, that's when it can get really expensive. So do keep that in mind, and don't forget to look at the plane schedules next time you're considering. I always forget to do that personally because I'm a senior, and yay, senior, and I get a lovely, lovely discount on the bus. So there you have it. Oh, thank you for your comments on the new website. Thank you very much. Laura says it looks good. Barbara says it looks good. I really like the new website. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gary. Yes, thank you, Karen. Oh, Arañita. I hope you're ready for me. This comes from my dear friend Luke. I hope you're ready for me because I'm ready for you. Let's make plans, my friend. Colleen asks, what is the actual website name? It's paco-ojeda.com. You can find that in our show notes every single day. So there's no way you're going to get lost getting there. Let's see. Oh, yummy. Dim sum for breakfast today. I'm going to assume this was not in Puerto Vallarta. If it was in Puerto Vallarta, please remind me where we can find great dim sum here in town. And I have an L. I don't know what an L is, but it says we had a driver who also took us from Puerto Vallarta to Lake Chapala, then Tequila and Guadalajara tours. We stayed at the lake for 10 days. Nice intro to the area, not necessarily quick or inexpensive. This is true. You know, if you have a bunch of friends that are traveling together, sometimes it's worth looking at your own van. Personally, because I like to pee, or I have to pee frequently, I like the bus. You know, I would feel so uncomfortable having to tell my friends, can you stop the car because I have to go number one? But, you know, there are different options. The important thing is to find the place and the time where you feel adventurous and you're like, you know, I'm going to go beyond my comfort level and I'm going to go explore a city that I don't know. That's when it gets awesome. Any recommendations for Pride Week events? Says Samuel Granddaddy Alfaro. I'll be the first person to admit that I don't do a lot of Pride stuff, so I personally don't have any particular suggestions, but I'll be happy to keep an eye on what's coming and what is being announced. And so far, the only Pride event that that I know about that I'm excited about is this concert with Amy Armstrong. But there's going to be all kinds of. There's going to be a parade, and there's going to be this, that, and the other. I will keep you posted. Um, just only travel with old men, and you'll be stopping all the time for a pee break. That's another great suggestion. If you travel with other people that are bladder challenged like me, where's the drum? That'll do the trick. Absolutely. Um, and Luke, of course, Luke says, get the Mimosa Mobile. The Mimosa Mobile is our friend Francisco's wonderful van service. We have relied on it before, and we call it the Mimosa Mobile because one time we took a trip early on in the morning, and it was definitely mimosa time, and our friends Luke and Claude were with us, and they brought an ice cooler with champagne and flutes, and we had mimosas on the van. So the name stuck. So we've called it the Mimosa Mobile ever since. What a great memory. Thank you for bringing it back to my heart, Luke. And I do hope we will connect sometime in the near future. I know you've been spending some time chilling with an empty house. I have been spending some time chilling and getting used to my empty house. So I'm due. I'm ready. And speaking of ready, I am ready to wrap things up here on this wonderful Monday. Have a great day. Have a great beginning of the week. And I will connect with you again tomorrow morning for more coffee headlines and stories. Take care.